The WNBA has once again found itself at the center of controversy, and this time, the league's decision has left fans buzzing with frustration and speculation. The situation escalated after Sophie Cunningham spoke out, revealing details that the league apparently wanted to keep under wraps. Her comments caused a ripple effect that shook the entire basketball community, and the WNBA's immediate response, imposing a heavy fine, only made the drama bigger. But when you look deeper, you start to see why the league acted so fast, and why this story has become one of the most talked about moments in recent WNBA history. Sophie Cunningham has never been afraid to speak her mind, and fans know her as one of the toughest players in the league. She plays with grit, confidence, and a boldness that demands attention. But her latest comments hit differently. She pulled the curtain back on issues that many suspected but few dared to openly address. By speaking her truth, Cunningham forced the league into a corner, and the WNBA reacted with what many are calling a panic move. They didn't just issue a warning, they went straight for a heavy fine, hoping to send a message not only to her but to every other player in the league: keep certain matters behind closed doors. But here's the problem: the fine has had the opposite effect. Instead of silencing the story, it amplified it. Fans began sharing clips, discussing the comments on social media, and questioning why the WNBA would go so far to punish Cunningham. It's almost like the league accidentally admitted that what she said carried truth, or at least struck a nerve. And once fans feel like something is being hidden from them, the story grows legs of its own. To understand why this moment matters, you have to look at the bigger picture of the WNBA right now. The league is experiencing a surge in attention, especially after the arrival of new stars. The spotlight has never been brighter, and every move, every decision, every controversy gets magnified. With more fans watching, the league feels the pressure to manage its image, and that's exactly why this fine looks like a panic reaction. It wasn't just about disciplining Sophie Cunningham, it was about protecting the WNBA brand during a crucial growth period. But there's also the reality that the WNBA has been criticized before for not being transparent. Fans have long debated whether certain players get special treatment, whether calls are inconsistent, and whether the league handles internal disputes fairly. Sophie Cunningham's comments poured gasoline on that fire. By speaking out, she confirmed what a lot of fans already suspected, that not everything is as polished as the league wants people to believe. And then there's the connection to Caitlin Clark. Every story in the WNBA these days somehow loops back to her because she represents the future of the league. Her arrival has brought unprecedented attention, record ratings, and a new wave of fans. That spotlight means every controversy now carries extra weight. When Sophie Cunningham dropped her truth, fans immediately began to wonder how this might impact Caitlin Clark's journey in the league. Would she face similar backlash if she ever spoke out? Would the WNBA risk punishing the player who is currently carrying so much of its popularity? The questions were unavoidable, and that's why Caitlin Clark's name got dragged into the conversation even though she wasn't directly involved. For many fans, this fine sends a chilling message. If someone as established as Sophie Cunningham can get hit with a penalty for speaking honestly, what does that say about the freedom of other players to express themselves? And more importantly, what happens when younger stars like Caitlin Clark eventually have their own criticisms? Is the league prepared to silence them too, even at the cost of fan backlash? Social media went wild after the news broke. Some fans defended the WNBA, saying professionalism requires players to handle certain matters privately. But the majority saw it differently. They argued that transparency is what grows a league, not suppression. In today's world, fans crave authenticity. They don't just want the highlight reels and the box scores, they want the real stories behind the scenes. Sophie Cunningham gave them exactly that, and the WNBA tried to shut it down. Instead, it made the story explode even more. And let's be honest, controversy sells. As much as the league may want to control its image, these kinds of moments are what keep fans engaged. The heavy fine may have been intended to scare other players, but in reality, it gave Sophie Cunningham more attention than ever. Her voice is louder now because of the punishment, not in spite of it. Fans are rallying behind her, saying she had the courage to say what others were thinking. This is where Caitlin Clark becomes even more central. Her rise has put the WNBA under a magnifying glass, and the league knows that how it handles controversies moving forward will determine whether new fans stay invested or drift away. Clark represents hope, growth, and mainstream appeal. If the WNBA is too heavy-handed with punishments and secrecy, it risks alienating the very audience it's trying to capture through her. Think about it, fans tune in not just for the basketball but for the drama, the rivalries, and the personalities. That's what makes sports addictive. And when you punish a player for showing personality or honesty, you cut into the very thing that makes the league entertaining. Sophie Cunningham's fine might have been intended to protect order, but it could end up costing the WNBA something far more valuable: trust and authenticity. In the end, the heavy fine is more than just a punishment. It's a symbol of how the league is struggling to balance control with growth. Sophie Cunningham exposed cracks in the system, and instead of addressing them openly, the WNBA tried to plaster over them with money and silence. Fans see through that, and with Caitlin Clark bringing more eyes to the league every day, these kinds of decisions will only get harder to justify. The WNBA is at a crossroads, and the way it handles outspoken players could define its future. One thing's for sure, this story isn't going away anytime soon.